In today's video, I'm going to be talking about ARKG, which is the ARK Genomic Revolution ETF. I actually personally think this is a very good futuristic ETF to invest in, and that's why I've done just that. So let's get down, let's check out this ARKG ETF, ARKG, on the stock exchange, and of course, let's see what they invest in, let's see what it's all about. So the expense ratio on this one is a bit high at 0.75%. However, the average volume is absolutely amazing at over 3 million shares traded every single day. From there, we see that the yield is 0.89, which is essentially still better than interest, but not that great. So this is not a dividend play by any means whatsoever. If we look at the 5-year chart, it's had a nice pullback, and I think that, of course, that this could be capitulation, or at least what I call capitulation right there. However, it's hard to say. It's always really hard to say things like that. However, all the way down, it's had really high volume, and of course, the volume, it looks like it's starting to trail off. So what that tells me is it may start stabilizing in that range, and from there will be potentially a future leg up, and I really do believe that because ARKG invests in companies that are doing genome research. And what this basically means that things like CRISPR technology and other different things like that will be invested in by this ETF. As I was mentioning, this is not a dividend play. However, they do pay a once a year dividend in December, and it's not extremely high, but at the same point in time, it's at least still something while you're waiting for the price of the actual ETF and the companies that it invests in to then go higher. Now, on their actual website, as of June 23rd, these are the current companies that they invest in, and the one that I really do like is CRISPR. That is the massive technology play that I think is going to be big over the next 10 to 15 years, mainly because basically what that technology does, and CRISPR is the leading company to work on this type of stuff, and there's other companies that do follow with them, and we'll see that on this list as well, but basically they're able to edit your actual DNA so that, for example, you could be in the future, you could be immune to things like cancers or sickle cell disease and things like that. And then later on, even farther, there is a lot of scientists that believe that CRISPR technology could actually help us live forever. And that is a totally different level of study. However, when it comes down to it, if we can cure things like cancers, if we can cure things like diabetes through editing our DNA, what we can then look forward to is a healthier older age. And then if they can figure out the technology as to how to make us live longer, basically the aging is a disease when it comes to this type of technology, because basically what happens when you get older and why you get wrinkly skin and things like that is because your DNA, your telomeres, actually shorten. Well, now if we can stop those telomeres from getting shorter, then technically we will not be getting older. So because of that, that's what they think they could do with this technology. And it's quite interesting, and this is why I am investing in this type of line right now, because instead of going out and donating our money to these charities that say that they give money to these companies, why not just give the money to these companies as an investment, and then hopefully that they use that money that you invest with them to then possibly invent something that will help us live forever, because I wouldn't mind living a couple of hundred or even a couple thousand years personally. Obviously, as long as I'm healthy, I would be fine with things like that. Some other companies that are, of course, on here is Teladoc, and now that's not necessarily a genomic play, but at the same time, it's still a healthcare play. But other things that are massive on here is, of course, Novartis. That's a very big one. I like Fate Therapeutics, as well as Vertex Pharmaceuticals. I really like Regeneron, mainly because they are also playing in that whole genomic CRISPR type of study, but also some other massive companies are on here. We have codexes, and then also something that I really do like is Bristol Myers. That's a very solid play as well. Now, all of these companies, you can see what they invest in, of course, and another one is Quantum. That's a very good company, at least in my thought, and AbbVie. There are some pretty solid companies on here. Now, of course, when you start getting to the bottom of this list, the actual holdings get smaller. But if we go back up, and some of the companies that I really like is, of course, CRISPR. And CRISPR is number 15 on the list, and about 2.5% of what you invest in this ETF goes towards CRISPR. However, Takeda is another good one. But overall, a very, very good list of stocks, and I would assume that they would even invest into future companies that come onto the stock market as well. It's an actively traded ETF. Now, this is a Cathie Woods ETF, so of course, do your own research. Never trust a random person on the internet. However, these are pretty serious companies when it comes to the future, and this is pretty serious technology that could help us live a healthier older age and potentially a lot longer as well. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.